Welcome to the Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. On today's show, Miami Dolphins OTAs winners and losers. Dolphins OTAs have wrapped up. They're officially done. 6 practices in the books. 3 practices past week on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. 3 the week prior. And it's time to look at what players performed well, what players kind of took a step back as we head into minicamp coming up this week. But make sure you are following us on Instagram. At Dolphins Today, IG is the handle. That link will be in the description and comments. But we post content on a daily basis covering the Fins on YouTube, but we also do it on Instagram with different videos as well and different posts. So give us a follow and be the most informed Dolphins fan on the planet. All right, first winner. I guess I should have put an asterisk next to this one, but it's Jaylen Waddle, the wide receiver, and he didn't even show up to an OTA. He did. He went 0 for 6 in attendance at practice, but he is a winner because he got an absolute bag from the Miami Dolphins. The news came out on Thursday morning. We covered it, but I do want to circle back to a little bit here because the Dolphins keep one of the best young wide receivers in the NFL with the Dolphins and the extension notes that I want to take a look at. It's a 3-year extension worth $84.75 million. That's wrong, by the way. It's on me. Not annual average salary, just total. And then $76 million guaranteed. But the important note is that he is under contract for 5 more years because he's got this year on his rookie contract, the 5th-year player option, and then the extension kicks in. So you get Waddle for 5 more years. I'm excited to see Jaylen Waddle's progression with Miami. And you say progression? Yeah, because he's already had 1,000 yards every single year of his career thus far. That is absolutely fantastic, and he's had to work alongside Tyreek Hill for 2 of them. Whether Tyreek Hill does retire in a couple years after this contract like he's rumored to, or he stays here, the Dolphins have the best wide receiver duo in the NFL, if you're asking me, with the 2 fastest wide receivers as well, and Waddle is only going to continue to rise in his career and cook things up under this Dolphins offense and growing with Tua Tagovailoa. All right, loser here, River Cracraft. And you might ask yourself why he's a loser. Well, it's really just because of how other people have performed at OTAs, and I haven't heard a lot of buzz from Cracraft. It feels like he's getting passed up from other wide receivers on the roster like Eric Eichenberg, Malik Washington, Taj Washington. And I want to focus in on Malik Washington, because Malik Washington has been absolutely terrific for the Miami Dolphins in OTAs. And on Tuesday, there was an open practice. He was going nuts. He had a couple one-handed grabs, including a deep touchdown catch from Tua Tagovailoa. The 6th-round pick from Virginia, Malik Washington, I've always circled him out as someone who can make an impact on this Dolphins team. I believe he will be awesome for Miami behind the trio of Odell Beckham Jr., Jaylen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill. And that's kind of where I slot him in on this depth chart right now, and that's kind of why I think Cracraft could be a loser. I think the Dolphins will keep 6 guys. You're going to have the big 3 of Hill, Waddle, OBJ. Berrios, to me, feels like a lock because of his special teams value and his productivity in the slot at times. And with how Malik Washington has played and how productive he was at college, I think he's a lock as well. So that's already 5 guys. Who gets that 6th spot? Is it going to be Cracraft? Is it going to be Eichenberg? Is it going to be the 7th-rounder Taj Washington? Because I think it could be. The wide receiver that was selected out of USC has also had some nice moments, including a touchdown pass from Tua. I think Taj Washington and Malik Washington will really push these veterans for a roster spot, and I like the blend that you could have of keeping the 2 rookies that you took on day 3, the Washington squared, whatever you want to call them. You pair those 2 up with the veterans of Berrios, OBJ, Hill, and Waddle. That's a deep and complete wide receiver room, and then maybe you could stash Eric Eichenberg on your practice squad, and that's kind of the way you have to go if you're asking me. So after hearing some of the other names that have been able to perform in Dolphins OTAs, will River Cracraft make the 53-man roster? Type M for make or type C for cut. I'll tell you this, Cracraft, big week ahead with minicamp from June 4th to the 6th. All right, winner again, not one individual player, but 2, the Dolphins linebackers, because we've seen Duke Riley and Channing Tindall do really well in the second week of OTAs, and if you just take apart the edge group and actually just look at the interior linebackers, I like this group quite a bit. David Long in his second year with Miami, Jordan Brooks coming over from Seattle, replacing Jerome Baker, Anthony Walker Jr. in free agency from Cleveland, who's one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. Like, I don't know how many linebackers the Dolphins will keep, but Duke Riley and Channing Tindall both performed really well in the second week of OTAs. Duke Riley earned orange jersey honors for Friday's practice. And if you don't know what orange jersey means, it means the previous practice you were a standout player and you were able to pick the playlist and be recognized for your hard work. So obviously he did well on Wednesday's practice. And then Tindall, everything coming out of the practice, the reports are that he was great in coverage, had back-to-back incompletions forced on passes thrown by Tua short and over the middle. So Tindall, who's fighting for a roster spot, entering the third year of his career, has not been able to perform after being a third-round pick from the University of Georgia. He was a top 110 pick in that third round. Can he put it together and start to fight for a roster spot? It's going to be tough because I don't know if the Dolphins go 5 linebackers deep. You're going to keep Anthony Walker Jr. Can Channing Tindall beat out Duke Riley? That's going to be a massive storyline when we get further and further closer to 53-man roster cutdown day. Another big week ahead, by the way, with mandatory minicamp running from June 4th to the 6th, as we've mentioned a couple times on today's show. Make sure you are subscribed because we're going to have those practices covered and who has stood out in those practices as well. So hit that sub button as we're on the road to 57K. Loser, Mike White, the quarterback, and I'm just not sure if he is going to be able to be on this roster. My prediction, Mike White is getting cut. And I just don't think he did enough last year on this Dolphins QB room to earn himself a guaranteed spot this year. Skylar Thompson has performed well, and he started a damn playoff game a couple of years ago against the Buffalo Bills. Thompson has outperformed Mike White in the first 2 weeks of free agency thus far, and I'd be willing to bet that he is going to be the QB2 in this upcoming season. I think Mike White gets cut. Thompson has just been good, man, and the reports have been that he is making more flash plays, and Mike White's contract is a little bit more expensive than Skylar's, so why not save the $2.5–3 million you can by cutting Mike White? Maybe you can allot that to a different free agent or just save it for the season. But Skylar Thompson, to me, feels like the real quarterback, too, for the Miami Dolphins. You guys could pick a quarterback, too, for me, though. Is it Skylar Thompson? If you're with me, type those STs. If you think it's going to be Mike White, type the MWs. Winner, Liam Eichenberg, which is actually ironic considering that I had him as a loser in the week 1 of OTAs video because he was getting a lot of snaps at center rather than right guard because of Aaron Brewer being out with injury, and he wasn't able to compete for that right guard spot because I think he is in the running with Robert Jones and Jack Driscoll. But you get an orange jersey, you are a winner, and he rocked that orange jersey on Wednesday, which means he was recognized for a standout performance on Tuesday. And even though he's not getting work at right guard right now, if he's able to prove to the coaching staff and front office that he can play center at a pretty good level, you can guarantee a roster spot, be the backup guy to Aaron Brewer. And then if you are doing really well at center, blocking, picking up assignments, maybe they'll still feel comfortable giving you a shot at that starting right guard position because there's obviously no one right now that has a chokehold on it. So if Eichenberg continues to progress, continues to play well in OTAs, minicamp, and training camp, there is still a chance maybe he's your starting right guard come week 1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And make sure you are representing the Miami Dolphins in that September 8th game against the Jaguars. You can do it by getting this sweet Dolphins t-shirt combo, $15 off at chatsports.com/Dolphins combo. That link will be in the description and comments of today's video. I got my combo sitting in my drawer at home. Make sure you're representing Miami with me. Get this combination today. Final winner on today's show, Jevon Holland, the safety who is entering the 4th and final year of his rookie contract after being a second-round pick from Oregon. And what's the common theme? You get an orange jersey, you are a winner. And to kick off OTA practices this week on Tuesday, he was rocking that orange jersey, which means he is doing an excellent job in OTAs. And Holland is due for a big fourth season, if you will. He flashed onto the scene as a rookie from Oregon, then had a really good 2022 season where he led a lot of safeties and tackles with 96, 7 PBUs, 2 INTs, but then was a little inconsistent with his play as well as not being able to stay on the field, only playing in 12 games during the 2023 season. Entering a contract year, I expect a massive bounce back for Jevon Holland. And I like to see the Miami Dolphins extend him before the season. I know there's different priorities. They obviously prioritize Jaylen Waddle pretty highly. They prioritize Tua Tagovailoa's contract extension. I like to see Jevon Holland get his, but I get it's on the low totem pole because he is going to ball out this year. And what do I always say? Well, at least you guys wouldn't know this, but I tell everyone this. If I was a GM, I would just build a team of contract year players because you're going to get their best play and your team's just going to be unbelievable. I expect a big year for Holland, especially if he doesn't get that extension, to try to earn himself a massive bag in free agency the following offseason. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure you are locked in with us here at Chat Sports and Dolphins Today because we're going to have you covered on everything surrounding the Fins. We'll have another video tomorrow, so make sure you are subscribed and keep your eyes out for that. I'll see you then. Go Fins.